Hi coaches, I'm Rashad Elby.
And I'm Andy Ryland.
Today we're going to talk to you guys about film tips. Now we've all been in that situation where we're watching film and you're looking at the clock and it's 30 minutes to an hour to 2 hours and you feel like you're just not getting where you want to be efficiently in watching film. Today we're going to talk about how to efficiently break down film and to help you be more efficient in your time with film watching it.
Now, when you're breaking down the tackle, the first and most important thing we believe is you got to have a framework,
Yes.
right? That we have to add some detail. We have to know what we're looking at. We have to get away from, we just missed tackles or, my favorite, the coach comes in, we didn't tackle well.
Sure.
We got to do some tackle drills.
Sure.
So we think there's probably some more detail than that. So we're going to stay a little bit higher level today and just talk about watching it at that top line view. So when it comes to our framework, here are some of the things we always recommend when starting an intro tackle evaluation system. So some of it's going to be play, position, number, stuff you need for your cataloging, grinding, but we're going to look at things that are important to us. Make and miss. Was it a right or a left shoulder tackle? Because this may show some imbalances. Tackle heights, were we a level 3, 2, or 1? So we look at patterns, or are we doing better or worse in a certain other tackle? But at the most entry level, we want to look at the 5 fights. Now the 5 fights gives us the critical framework for how to evaluate the tackle. And if we put this in offensive language, as a wide receiver, the route has different parts. You're looking at your release. Are you maybe stemming to get initial leverage? Obviously how you handle the break and that separation. You could do all that right and then do a bad job catching the ball. You could catch the ball and do a bad job finishing. So we kind of have some parts we can look at.
Yes.
The joke, offensive line coaches, they're notorious, right? Entry angle, departure angle, initial step. Then you have to worry about, are the hands right? Are the feet right? Did we get movement?
Correct.
Well, let's do the same thing with the tackle. So when we have our 5-fight system, we can look at track, prepare, connect, accelerate, and finish, and we can take each tackle through that lens. What this allows coaches to do is look at where are the team, the position groups, or even the individual player actually being let down. So in our definition, tracking, and a great way for you at home to be able to evaluate tracking is, do we get to the spot to make the play? So at any point as we're watching the film, did we get to the right spot to make the play? So sometimes players who haven't been practicing at full speed, they've had limited reps, the game catches them fast, they take bad angles. We've seen plays where maybe we're worried about the opponent's speed, we overcorrect ourselves and we take the bad angle, right? So guys or gals are so fired up, they're so aggressive, or maybe the first time they're seeing game speed, their natural reaction is to overshoot it because they're a little nervous about being outrun. So these tracking drills we've mentioned from the beginning have to be full intensity, even though there's no contact, because we have to get great at getting to the spot. If we don't get to the spot, some of the other stuff is going to be poor. So almost every time, and I don't like freeze framing because you stop the play, you take it out of context, but you can almost freeze frame it and ask yourself, did they put themselves in position to make the play? Normally that means they're tracking pretty well.
Sure. So looking at then progressing to the prep. So they get to the ball, they're about to make the tackle. Talk a little bit about that preparation, that phase of it. What does that look like?
So as a new coach who's new to really evaluating this, we can give the simple question as well. We're at the right spot, but are our positions and postures good enough to win the play? So we've all seen a guy, maybe he's flying through full aggression, he gets to the spot, but he gets there really high, his feet are narrow, his chest is up, he's not in position to win the contact situation. So if track is to get to the spot, prepare is putting yourself in the postures to win the play.
So as your guys look to now connect, okay, I want to get my guys the ball in space where they can be elusive and do what they do. But I also know you got to play the game at times between the tackles. Talk about that connect piece, whether you're in space or in between the tackles.
So the first mistake we see coaches making is they turn connect into a physical grade, not a technical grade, right? We always talk about big hits, explosive, powerful at the point of contact. Well, that's a physical trait, right? You're more powerful than me. I'm stronger than you. What do that collision look like? When we talk about the technical side of connect, we want to look at, do we get our shoulder on the carrier? do we have good accuracy with the shoulder? Meaning, do we hit our spots on a level 1, 2, and 3 tackle, or do we go shoulder pad to shoulder pad where it's kind of a stalemate? So are we really able to get our shoulder in? Are we able to get our shoulder where we want?
Sure.
Are our arms involved? Are we just shoulder? Are we punching the hands? Are we clamping? Are we gripping? All those things come part of the initial connection.
Correct.
Power is great, and power, is something we want from our players. But as a great coach, Richie Gray, once told me, technique is how we focus that power and that aggression. So we want to make sure we're evaluating that in the connection phase.
Sure. When you really start to look at the acceleration phase, I often feel like the acceleration phase might be the aspect that is usually the most undercoached. I think in all aspects of football, you have to run your feet in order to win any contact battle that you're going to have with an opponent. Talk about the importance of running your feet, acceleration, how you grade that.
Yeah, so while coaches always say that, as you mentioned, how is it harped on? So the simplest way to look at it is, are we generating power post-contact? Or are we going with explosion and then stopping? A couple simple ways we can look at that as a coach are simply to look at how many steps the player gets down post-contact. Now, we don't want to, stomp our feet in place. Then we want to look at the leg drive. So are those steps gaining ground?
Sure.
So if we look at something as simple as the lower body, do they get cleats? Do they keep cleats in the grass? Are they able to get steps in? And are those steps accompanied with actual leg drive? Even if we don't move, running backs are good. We'll have some stalemates, but are they attempting to fight and gain that distance? That'll give you a pretty clear entry-level picture on are our guys attempting to accelerate? Are they fighting
Sure.
to accelerate within that battle?
Sure. And the almighty finish. We all want to finish. I know I tell my guys when I'm coaching, hey, first of all, one guy can't bring you down. And when you finish, I want you as the ball carrier to finish on top. Talk to me about what is it that you're telling your defensive players, your linebackers? How do you want them to finish? What does a finish look like from you when you're grading them out?
So finish for us is going to be how we bring the ball to the ground. We want to go to the ground in control of the tackle.
Sure.
So are we clamped? Are we gripped? Do we finish on top? Which way is our helmet facing? Then you'll know there's a pretty good dominant tackle right there. So we're going to pull up a clip here. This is from this weekend's game. And this is, by all accounts, just a great highlight. So we'll come back to the beginning here. We're going to see a run bounce to the outside. A safety's going to come downhill. The play ends quick. Looks like it's behind the line of scrimmage. But we can look at this from a deeper level. A great play is not just a great play. It's also a teaching opportunity or a reinforcement opportunity.
Sure.
So our highlighted player here in the box is going to have to come downhill. So we'll watch him come downhill, but in his coming downhill, he keeps his leverage. He closes the space effectively, dominates his leverage, and when we get into that contact zone, we feel like he's put himself in position to make the play.
Yes.
If that's our simple cue, then we have a positive for evaluating the track. Now we're going to look at prepare. You can see in coming from deep down the field, we had to be high hips, sprint mechanics. We got to get down there fast. We can't give Christian McCaffrey space. But we're going to dip in at the last yard or two. So we'll come in, we'll watch, high, run, run, run. Then we're going to sink in. As he sinks in right here, what I really like is we're going to dominate the leverage. We're going to keep that outside arm and leg free. We have a near foot down, near shoulder, right? Head is out of the tackle. It's down. We could correct that, but it's out of the tackle, right? And we have a good spinal alignment. Now we'll see on these next clips, not only are we getting a connection with the shoulder, but hands start to get in. Now he misses the hand, but it's a crazy dynamic game. McCaffrey slipped and he's almost going down, but if we continue to watch his hands, we'll see that he's fighting and grabbing and clawing.
Yes.
Then here we finish on top, right? Piles washing us, we're a little on the side, but even that hand, we're still working at the end. So we'll watch it again at speed and we'll start to see good track downhill. We're gonna dip late, so stay as big as we can, as long as we can, then dip time. We're gonna try to get our spine in line, great preparation. Shoulder on, fighting for the clamps. We get a step in, right? So we're trying to use our feet, but the play is going to the ground. So we go down feet with it. We end up pretty much on top, right? Now the standard is the standard. The standard is perfection. It's really tough to get. But if I'm grading this play, this isn't just a tackle for a loss. This is a 5 out of 5 tackle. This is we accomplished all 5 of our goals. So you can have great plays for your team that are a negative 3-yard loss.
Sure.
Well, maybe it's only a 2 out of 5 on technique.
Correct.
We could have a terrible play for our team, but we hustled, we trapped it down, right? Maybe we stopped, we turned a big gain into not a touchdown. So we're looking at positive things. Each and every tackle can be graded on this 5-point scale. By doing that, you'll start to see the patterns in who your players are, what we're doing really well as a team, what we're doing poorly, and what we may need extra work on. A quick framework, something as simple as grading each of the 5 fights on every tackle, allows you so much more depth and detail when you're trying to program your defense for the next week's individual session.
It's great information, Andy. Coaches, for more on helping you evaluate your team's film, check out Advanced Tackling System at footballdevelopment.com, where you can get 3 free lessons when you sign up.
And don't forget our partners over at MVP. They're the creators of the world's first robotic, self-righting tackling dummy. Check them out at mvpdummy.com.
Coaches, thanks for tuning in. Again, I'm Rashad Elby.
I'm Andy Ryland.
See you guys in our next episode of Tackleticians.